fantasy. That's kind of funny
Yeah,
that
good
we
luck.
ended up. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we're
Like
playing
I
each
said,
other.
man. Yeah, it was such a uh honestly, it was such a weird year, like draft wise.
Yeah,
Um, like yeah. Um, I'm yeah, like I said, man, it was a tough matchup last week. Like I said, like we talked about this. Justin's my kryptonite,
yeah.
and sure enough, again, I thought in the beginning of the week or earlier in the day, I was gonna do pretty good. I was
Yeah.
having a good lead on him, and then my last guys in the afternoon just shedded the bed. And then
Yeah.
I had Jonathan Taylor, who became a meme for killing everybody else's fantasy team.
I know,
Um,
right?
yeah,
Thanks for tuning in to Yappin and Shit, where we as brothers and friends hop on the mics and have conversations. Sometimes they're serious, sometimes they're not. Sometimes we react, and sometimes we just yap. We appreciate you tuning in and hope you enjoy the episode.
let's jump right into it. I got a couple articles for you to react to. Keep it short and sweet, so you can go and enjoy enjoy your dinner, um, and get this out of the way. So let's jump in. First things first. Um, Maybe by the time you hear this, not you, but our listeners,
Yeah, I know. By the
uh,
time by the time this episode hits,
drops.
like obviously we're talking about articles and I guess by the time this comes out, it'll be a day before Christmas.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you're
yeah,
listening to this, Merry Christmas to this episode. Obviously it's not close to uh Christmas for us at the moment, but we usually do things a week out just to
yeah,
make it easier for us. So some of the news that you guys are hearing, you might be like, why are they still talking about that?
yeah. Or it
um
might, yeah, and or we might be talking about it, and there is a significant update that happened.
yeah, and
Um,
then they're like, what are these guys talking about? They're so wrong.
yeah,
I'm like, no,
yeah,
no, no, that's just our thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah, so I
Uh,
mean, this is dropping the 23rd. So for those that listen on the 23rd on drop, thank you. And
yeah,
Merry Christmas to you, and whoever else is listening. Um,
yeah,
but you know, by the time it comes out anyways, and then we'll have a Christmas episode after that. And then really it's New Year's because technically
yep,
it's a quick thing. Anyways,
yeah.
I digress. I
It's
digress.
like we drop an episode right now talking about, oh, congrats to the new president elect Donald Trump, and
Yeah,
everyone's
right.
like, that was like a month ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Um, but yeah, anyways, um, the reason why I'm saying that is because uh but like Tyler said, this will be around Christmas time, so that this episode drops. So it'll probably be several weeks old. But I'm sure people are still crying. And I mean that in a good way, because I'm also, I would consider myself not a diehard Swifty, but I respect her in her music, and I'm a fan of her music. So but why people are still crying, the Eras tour has finally come to a finale and end in Vancouver, Washington. Or no, I said Vancouver,
Vancouver,
Washington.
Washington.
There is a Vancouver, Washington, for
There
those who
is.
know
There is. For those that
who
don't know.
yeah, but no, Vancouver, Canada. Our neighbor, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, but has finally come to a climatic end. The Eras tour is over. But besides the point, outside of many wins, that Taylor has, which is probably awesome to read. Um, she did suffer a loss, and I thought this was pretty interesting. So I want to hear your, well, it's not really a take. This is just our reaction, and so out of all the wins she had, she actually had a loss this weekend. And you ready to hear this? So a couple uh well, from when we're talking now. So you guys remember a couple weekends ago, or maybe last weekend, from when we're talking, she made a surprise announcement that she dropped two Target exclusive. One is her book, and then the other one is um, her anthology vinyl.
Yeah.
And so the what do you call it? Her
Get it
book, by
out,
the way.
man.
Yeah,
Just
I
kidding.
know. I'm struggling. Her book, by the way, the Target exclusive book is her first ever book that's printed from herself. And it's basically like I don't know. I haven't looked at it, but I'm sure the wife will probably pick it up here and there. But I think it's like a coffee table book of like behind the scenes of like her Eras tour. So first weekend it sold or it dropped. It sold more than 800,000 copies, right?
Yeah.
That is only second place all time. She lost because the but check this out though. She's in good company. You want to take? I'll give you one guess. Do you know who is still the first best-selling author of a nonfiction book of all time? Of
Of
their
a
first
non
weekend. Sorry.
on their
Of their
first
first
weekend.
weekend. Of their first weekend. Yeah. So Taylor Swift is best-selling nonfiction book for the first weekend of all time at a little bit over 800K copies sold first weekend. That's only good for second place. Who is first place?
Of nonfiction.
Nonfiction.
Yeah, I was gonna in my head. I was like Harry Potter, dude. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
that's. I mean,
that's
that's
fiction.
nonfiction. No, it's not fiction. Come on, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah,
For all
true,
you
true.
Potterheads.
Yeah,
Um, that's a
I'll give you one guess before I tell you.
yeah. I know. I'm just trying to think. Nonfiction. I
Yeah,
mean, that's a completely different category.
right. And it's a vast category too.
I know. Oh God, and the nonfiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like
The,
obviously nonfiction.
don't,
Well,
yeah,
nonfiction. Mostly, I'm thinking that these are going to be what autobiographies, right?
I can't. The only clue I'll give you is that even though she lost for the first time in her career, of recent years, um, she's in very good company. Let's say that.
Okay.
That's the only clue I'll give you. Knowing you might get it right on the spot. You're not looking it up, are you?
No, no, no. I'm
Yeah,
just trying to think. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't I don't know. It's like I read a lot of like nonfiction type of things
yeah,
and autobiographies
yeah,
when I don't know, you read them at different times.
yeah, yeah.
I
Take a guess.
man, I don't even know where to start on this one. Um
Yeah, that's the only clue I'll give you is that she's even though she lost to this person, she's in good company.
yeah, yeah, it's hard because like I'm trying to think like what
Yeah,
book did I buy?
yeah.
This is recent by any chance?
Can't give
Like
you any more clues.
that's not gonna give it away for me. Like
No.
recent when I say recent,
Oh, okay.
like
All
within the
right.
last 10
Yeah.
years.
Okay. Yes, within the last 10 years, I'll give you that.
Ugh, man. Oh God. This is gonna make
Once
for great content in this episode. No, I'm just trying to think. Trying to think, talking so people don't I'm just kidding. Um honestly, shit, man, there's so
if you
many
get this,
people.
yeah, if you
I
get
was
this
gonna say
wrong
the
and I
only
tell you,
person that I could
yeah,
think of that like might pop off.
yeah,
I'm gonna say two names just because
okay,
it depends, right? I think Mamba Mentality was up there. That's a Kobe
mm-hmm,
Bryant for anyone
mm-hmm,
who doesn't know what Mamba Mentality is. I don't think that's it. I think it's oh man, it's gonna be hard. I feel like it's gonna be like I'm trying to think of an era here, recent, and I say within 10 years, it could be 20. Who knows? I don't know at the top of this, but I'm gonna say like Michelle Obama. That's the only person that comes to mind who would
mm-hmm.
that in terms of like a high grossing
Yeah,
autobiography type of thing
yeah.
in the
All
first
right,
weekend. In the
all
first
right.
weekend.
Yep. All right, I'll tell you. Surprisingly, those are two great guests. Honestly, I don't know where they rank of all time. However, you were so damn close It was Barack Obama in
It was
2020 with the Promised
The
Land. Yeah,
Promised Land. Yeah, I was trying to think. I
yeah,
was like, let me think of
yeah,
the books that are on my bookshelf.
yeah.
Like, damn it.
Um, however, check this out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Officially, so the official count for the first weekend. So the official count for Taylor Swift for her losing first place of best-selling nonfiction book for first weekend was
Yeah.
814K copies, 814,000 copies. Obama, who's still first place, was actually only 816,000. So she was almost there.
Oh
Of
wow.
I bet you when in probably in the next 5 years she drops an autobiography. You know, after she marries Travis Kelsey and reshapes the world. You know,
Reshapes
because
the
remember,
world. Has a.
remember we talked about this. There was
Oh yeah.
a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
remember for those who forgot there was a callback to an earlier episode we did probably maybe half a year ago, especially when Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey were like still a hot item, like when they first dated. There was um there was a fake statistic, fake in a sense that it's not rooted in anything solid. However, it's from a user who is really good at running statistics, and they said that it's possible that that if Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey was to have a kid, their their social like pull
Yeah.
would inspire many people to also have kids, which essentially with the declining birth rates all over the world, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey having a kid would probably help inspire repopulate the earth, something along those lines. And anyways, going back to that, maybe in the next 5 years, Ben, she could
Maybe.
probably surpass, do another nonfiction book, do another autobiography, and she'll probably first weekend maybe be the number one seller. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, like I said, the official count, it wasn't like she lost by a lot. It was
Yeah.
only what, uh 20, well, yeah. I'm doing the math wrong. 2K. She was off by 2K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. I'd be interested to
Yeah.
see that for sure. The only you said she took an L there, but I would say I would argue that she took two L's because I don't know if you've read too much into the. And let me preface this by saying I was not one of the people that went and got their books. I asked Allie if she wanted it. She said no.
Yeah.
Which was funny,
Yeah.
but it's just one of those things. It's like it's just a book with
Pictures. It's like
pictures.
a coffee. It's like a
It's literally a coffee. I mean, don't get me wrong.
yeah.
I bought Mamba mentality, and
Yeah. I mean, I did too. I mean, yeah, we had
yeah,
to.
it's Kobe Bryant. Come on.
Yeah.
A lot of people can say that it's Taylor Swift. Come on. But yeah, it's I don't know if you read into it too much or like whatever, but like so many people were like after they bought that book, they were like, oh my god, yeah, I wanted to put it out from my coffee table like type of book. And then I was like, I just had to open it and look at it and see for the first time and relive the experience. And they were just like, did anyone proof this? Because the grammars were the grammar's
Oh,
bad, the
geez.
spelling's bad, like no one spell checked it.
Yeah.
So people were like, did anyone actually edit this? Like, how did this go to print? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand how this went to print. And I was like, oh wow. So yeah, I mean, it was all hype, obviously, and it's like a big one of the biggest stars in the world at this point, if not the biggest in music at the moment.
Yeah.
But like no one proofed this, like, and that's what, and so a lot of people are complaining because they're like, I don't know if I can actually put this out as a coffee table thing. I'm like, okay, let's be honest here. It's a coffee table book. No one's gonna pick that up.
No.
Everyone's just
I,
going to be like, "Oh my god, you got that? Cool."
I mean, they
Uh,
will pick it up, but they're not gonna oh, let me analyze these paragraphs and this grammar
right.
and
Like,
these sentences. They're just
how did
gonna
they
flip
spell
through.
audio wrong?
Yeah, they're gonna flip through, look at the pictures, and be like, "Wow, ooh," and then just put it back down. Right?
No, yeah. I mean, that's literally
Yeah,
what a coffee table type of book is.
yeah,
Is just
yeah.
like, for a quick glance viewing of like, oh wow, this is
It,
cool. Like if
it's more memorabilia, right?
yeah,
It's
it's
more of that
more,
than a
yeah.
book. Yeah,
It is, and but
yeah,
it's just funny. Like some of the people, obviously they wanted to read it and stuff, and they were
yeah,
just like, "Oh my god, what is this?"
yeah,
And maybe you just got a copy that didn't get edited. There was
yeah,
the one
yeah,
copy that didn't get edited. But who knows? But yeah, it's just I was like, "Ooh, that's not good." If
yeah,
some people don't care because they're like, "I ain't reading it," and I'm like,
yeah,
"All right, that's fair." Yeah, I think I wanted to get the vinyl, but man, by the time we got there, it was all sold out.
yeah,
People were
yeah.
lining up. Literally people lining
I
up, just
bet.
like old days.
Yeah,
But I was like, well, I mean, it's an exclusive for Target. It'll come back. You know what I mean? I've gotten every other drop for Taylor Swift at
yeah,
Target in terms of a vinyl. For Allie.
yeah,
When it came out, and typically, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I actually got it.
yeah.
But this one, it was like, oh no, this sold out quick.
It'll be restocked.
Yeah,
It always
it'll be
does.
restocked, and that's
Yeah,
why I'm not worried about it. It
yeah,
just so happened when they released it, it was Black Friday, so it was
yeah,
like, oh geez, okay, the
yeah,
busiest shopping day. Of course, they're going to be sold out.
yeah,
Whereas the other ones like 1989 and all that stuff, and like the tortured post support department,
yeah.
those all like released on a Tuesday, a random
Yep,
Tuesday. You know what I
yep.
mean? So I'm like, I went in, had no issues getting it, and
Yeah,
called it
it's
good.
still being sold right now.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
original TTPD
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so
tortured
that's why
pose
I'm not
apart.
worried about it. So I'm like, they're gonna restock
Yeah,
it. Like it's very popular. They'd be dumb
yeah.
not to restock it because you're gonna get more
The
money off of it.
the cool thing was that because before we bought the online limited edition,
Yeah.
where she would have like a special edition song and a different colored vinyl.
Right, right,
So
right.
I think we got forget which one we got, but it was sold out for a long time online on her website. And when we were honeymooning Iceland, Vanessa had the email alert from her website that it went on, and we bought it right then and there when we were in Iceland. And so we got that special edition because we didn't want. Usually, we like to buy Target edition exclusive stuff, but we didn't like the particular special song that was on the Target version. So we're like, nah, we'll skip it, because we were hoping that she would drop the anthology, but a lot of diehard Swifties on Reddit and stuff like that we would read into, highly doubted she would ever drop the anthology because she's done this before. Recently with that one album that had Lavender Haze on it,
Yeah,
Midnight,
Midnight's. Yeah.
yeah, Midnights. She dropped Midnights, the regular LP, and then like shortly after she did the same thing like anthology where she dropped like a a 10 track bonus track thing for Midnights. She never released that version of the vinyl. So a lot of like Swifties, and you can trust a lot of Swifty Reddits. They're pretty knowledgeable, especially if you go onto Reddit. I mean, there's a lot of weirdos on Reddit too, but for a lot of like factual information stuff,
Yeah, that's where I go.
yeah,
Let's be
same.
honest.
I go on Reddit for a lot of things, and and even though there's a lot of weirdos on there, it's pretty easy to source, right? Like to see
Yeah,
who has the factual stuff, because it's not like you're getting info from Instagram or Facebook, right, where you don't know where the source is coming from. Reddit, yeah, there's a bunch of idiots and a lot of sarcastic knuckleheads, but there's always the majority who will correct them, right? Especially if it's a post that specifically says no bashing, like the rules is no bashing. I'm
yeah.
asking for the particular info. A lot of people follow the rules on Reddit, even though there might be a lot of idiots. So, anyways, for those who are like, what, you listen to Reddit for that fact? But now, Tyler agrees, so everyone should know. But we would look up Reddit, and highly, like, really credible Swifties say it's very unlikely she would ever drop the anthology. And then here she goes. Another money grab, Taylor.
Yeah.
But even though we're going to get it anyways.
Yep.
But But anyway, she dropped the anthology, and so I'm sure it's going to be restocked.
Oh yeah,
Once everything dies down.
yeah, without a doubt. I
Yeah,
mean, it would
yeah,
be dumb not to restock it. Like I said,
yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
Um, which is kind of upsetting because it's like vinyls aren't cheap, and so it's
no,
like
they're not. That's the
yeah, and so it kind of sucks because like we already got the original album, limited edition version from her website with like one bonus track that's on the anthology,
yeah,
and I personally, like I said, I like Torture Poets Department (TTPD),
yeah,
but I honestly wasn't a fan of the anthology side. It felt like more B tracks to me, right?
yeah,
So I'm personally not upset because we got the main album, which I think is the best side. But for us who want to collect that, right? Like as memorabilia's, it's kind of it's like you want the anthology, but then it's like you already have the other one, which is one
yeah,
half of it. So it's like technically you're paying more to have only half of the other half. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
I hear you.
um, yeah. But if it goes on sale and not part of the rush and not resale, obviously we'll consider it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, like I said, I'm not in a rush to get it, but
Yeah.
down the road we'll probably get
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
If anything, we pretty much have all the Taylor versions except for I think we didn't pick up Red,
Uh,
Taylor's version.
yeah,
And for a while it was always floating around in Target and we were just like, we're good. And then we're at the point where we're like, we should have grabbed that because um yeah, we're trying to like get all her Taylor versions and
yeah,
so that's the only thing we haven't seen restock lately since the last time we could have got it.
yeah,
So yeah, but usually Target always has like get it restocked all the time.
yeah. And I'm just
Yeah, maybe
waiting for
after the holiday.
reputation.
After the holiday. Yeah, Reputation, I mean, we'll probably get it, but it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah,
However, I will say for those who
I haven't
don't
dropped
have a
TVs yet, man.
yeah, but for those who um don't have vinyl records, listening to albums on vinyl, not saying it's the best quality. Like a lot of audiophiles will tell you not all vinyls are the best quality compared to digital, right? There's a lot of people who argue that. However, I would say, and I think a lot of people would agree, there's just something cool about listening to an album on vinyl. And, because we got a couple albums that I'm not a fan of, but when we listened to it through on vinyl, I became a big fan. So, with that said, Taylor's version of Reputation, I might like it more when I listen to it on the vinyl. So yeah, Taylor
Yeah.
might have lost by only a few points to Obama um, uh, in the nonfiction elections, but she's still a winner.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. All right, last article of the night. This is perfect timing for last segment of the night. Because I want to hear your take on this because this is related to baseball, and you probably know where I'm going with this. Um, so apparently it's causing an uproar, but the MLB has proposed a new change um, that apparently would drastically change the sports, and it's called the Golden at Bat.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, obviously Tyler knows he's a baseball whiz, but just to kind of give summary for our listeners, basically this new rule in baseball, it allows managers to basically select any of their best hitters and bring them up to bat at any time during the game once a game, right? For example, let's say this is actually an example in the article, but I'm just summarizing it. Obviously, it's the only player I know outside of the Mariners, but let's say the Dodgers are in the championship game and they're down 4-0 and they're down 4-0 and correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, because I'm not a baseball guy, but they're down 4-0 and bases loaded. Otani is at bat, hits a grand slam, ties it up,
Mm.
and and they need one more run to win the game. And typically in regular baseball rules, you go up to the next bat. You have a batting order. You go up to the next guy. So Otani's done for the day. However, with this new rule, after he hits that grand slam and they haven't used it yet during the game, the manager can put Otani right back at bat for that extra possible fifth home run score to win the game. As a non-baseball fan, or as a fair weather baseball fan, now that I'm slowly enjoying it, I kind of like that. However, there's a lot of like baseball heads who, are diehard baseball fans who I think there was a quoted radio DJ who's like a big time baseball host talker. He said he would literally stop watching the game if this rule was implemented. What's your take? I think it's awesome, but what's your take?
I think it needs to stay where it is currently.
Yeah.
So if you and when I say that,
Yeah.
I think traditional baseball, I think, we've changed it in some ways, but I think the golden bat rule doesn't necessarily need to apply to baseball. Because you've already done things like have a ghost runner in extra innings, right? Which the way they have it in people obviously complain like,
what is a ghost
games
runner, by the way? I hear that all the time, but I never looked it
so
up.
when the game is tied after the
Mhm.
ninth inning, it goes into extra innings.
Yep.
A runner, the person that got the last out of the last inning for whatever team going into the 10th starts at second base.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. I know that role. So that's ghost running. Okay.
Yeah, so that's ghost running. So they did that
Yep,
to
I know
make
that
the
role.
game quicker
Yeah.
in extra innings, which I can get from just a standard normal baseball fan. Like, oh, it's too long. I don't
Yeah.
really care. But to my thing, and this is kind of like an international rule with softball, competitive softball, which you have a ghost runner in extra innings.
Yeah.
You get the ghost runner at second, but you start with one out. In baseball now, they've started the ghost runner in extra innings with no outs.
Yeah.
So like obviously trying to speed it up to where like, oh, the idea is like you can either bunt them over to third and then you have a runner on third with one out and then you have to figure that out, or you don't bunt and you just do whatever you need to do.
Right.
So for me, I'm like, I would have much rather had them start a runner at second with one out, because then it's like, oh, it's fair, and it does speed it up in that sense because you already have an out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my take on it. But as far as the golden bat rule, I don't know if we should add that to the game. I think it would be exciting and it would bring more people into the sport. However, the
Like
golden
me.
bat right now is primarily part of like the Savannah Bananas, like traveling baseball teams thing.
Oh yeah,
right?
I
So
follow
that's where a lot more people are learning about the golden at bat,
Yeah.
is because they can do that during the game for Savannah Bananas, which is fun because that game is fun.
Yeah, it's
the whole premise of that is supposed to be fun.
Is it like the equivalent of Globetrotters, kind of, the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah. So like, so it's kind of like that. They're dancing on the field. They're doing like
I've seen
trick
that.
catches and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think in that realm of things, I think that the golden at bat makes sense because there's so many things happening. Whereas, like after you get to a certain point in like extra innings for there, they have to hit like a home run to win the game.
Yeah.
And it has to be like an inside the park home run kind of thing. So it's kind of like, or it doesn't have, yes, it does have to be, but it's kind of crazy. Like if you've ever watched it, it gets to a point, like if you go too far into extra innings, you have one pitcher and the batter. If the batter hits the ball, the pitcher has to go and get the damn thing in the outfield, and they basically have to sprint all the way to wherever the ball was hit, and they have to throw it home essentially because the runner has to basically have to hit an inside the park home run, which I think is fun, but it also gasses the heck out of these guys. But anyways, I think the golden at bat should stay like in the Savannah Banana kind of world,
right?
In that kind of realm. I don't know if you want to bring it into sports. It would be exciting, but I just think tradition.
So is it? Yeah, so it's more of tradition then.
Yeah. I think
rather than actually ruining the game.
yeah. For me, it's more tradition. Like it's
Yeah,
one of those things. Like if you're at the bottom of the order, just go with it. You're at 7, 8, 9. Like you're gonna be like, oh, by the way, I'm bringing up my 3 or 4 hitter.
yeah,
Just because it's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I mean, it does keep it competitive if you're only using it once. But I know Manfred also said like it's not going to be implemented anytime soon
yeah,
at this rate.
yeah,
If anything, I would rather see robotic umps at this point, or the challenge system for strikes.
yeah, yeah,
Like I would rather much see that, because some of these umps are like, what are we
yeah,
doing
yeah.
here? Um,
Even I'm watching and I'm like, you know, I'm a fair weather fan of baseball in general, and I'm just like, even some of these calls are ridiculous.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
that's my thought on
Yeah.
that. So,
I personally, I vote yes on that. I would love to see that because sometimes it's like I get it's tradition. And coming from me, like as a fair weather watcher, I'm watching and let's say, yeah, I'm cheering on our Mariners. And let's say they're down by 3, hit a home run with 2 on base. So they get it to 3-4, right? At the bottom of the inning, whatever. Bottom of the inning is when the game is over, right? Let's say it's bottom of the ninth, and so they score, it's 3-4. However, you're down to your last 2 people on the bottom of the pecking order. You already know they lost. It's like this bullshit. Why am I even watching? Well, for me as a fair weather fan, I'm like the chances are with the people at the bottom of the pecking order, we lost. It's over, right? Unless a miracle happens, which is amazing, by the way. But like, I don't know. To me, from my small sample size, um, if it's a bottom pecking order, they just need 1 run to tie it up or 2 to win. The chances are very low, like very, very low, right? It makes for a ESPN top 10 highlight reel if they do make it, but it's very low. But as a fair weather fan, it's so cool to be like, we haven't used our golden at bat yet. It's time to tie it up or at least go for the win. Bring our number 1 back in, right? Like for me, that's how I see it. But I get it. I wasn't always like traditional with baseball, so that's coming from me as a fair weather fan. I think it would get a lot more viewership um, onto baseball. I think Otani is already doing a great job changing the game and making more fans. Um, but I think changing some of the rules would make it more fun as well.
yeah, I mean, like I said, like
Yeah,
rules yeah, I mean, they're meant to
yeah,
change and all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to
yeah.
see. But
All right. Yeah, we'll see how it changes. I know this is going to be dropped prior to Christmas, so happy holidays to everybody, whatever you celebrate. Um, and Merry Christmas to those who do celebrate Christmas. Um, yeah, maybe these rules will change. Maybe there'll be a field goal kick rule that baseball implements. Who knows? By the time this article drops, maybe they'll do a recount. Because Taylor Swift is not conceding her loss to Barack Obama in terms of book sales, and maybe they do they do a new count. But by the time this drops, send us a message. Let us know. So that we're alerted to our old news, and we'll come back with an update. Before we wrap it up and call it good night, so Tyler can go have his dinner. Any final thoughts, Tyler?
I think it'll be, and this just kind of popped into my head. Obviously, at the time of this this release and everything, we'll have more information later. But I just wanted to I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you had to have seen it unless you lived under a rock. But like the healthcare uh, situation and everything with United Healthcare and all that, and the assassination of Brian Thompson or whatever. Um, Crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Initial thoughts are just like, what the heck? And then obviously, it was insane that, after it happened, so many people were cheering, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's just crazy. And yeah, but I think that also speaks volumes to U.S. healthcare compared to other countries in many ways. Specifically, this one using AI to determine whether someone's valid or not.
Which is wild.
But it's wild. And obviously we can talk about this in a later episode once we have a little bit more information, but it's just interesting, all of like the things. And then they finally found the guy who allegedly did it. Because now it's like, it seems like this guy was set up. So it's kind of interesting. It's very, so many developing pieces, obviously, in this. And so by the time this comes out, like, obviously you're listening to this now, may be like, we're like, what are you guys talking about? They figured this out like a week ago. But no, it's interesting, like how it all played out. And the video was crazy. I was like, geez, what the heck? But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because I was like, that is insane. That it happened. And to the point of, one of the people that I watch and get like, news from and stuff, NYPD, like, I understand that, you have a job and doing all this stuff and searching. Why did it take you so long to find the backpack? You know what I mean? Anyways, again, this is all like,
we'll save it until
we'll save it. But I just thought it was interesting, like just seeing like all the reaction and then everything. And now as things are developing, like, it's just an interesting thing to talk about. And I'd be interested obviously to learn more about what's happening. Obviously we know why it happened, in a way on why it happened. A lot of disgruntled people out of touch with the American people. But yeah, it was just like kind of shocking, but like interesting to see the reaction of everyone else. And we'll have more information by the time we talk about this again. But it was like, wow, this is insane. But anyways, outside of that, go baseball. Spring training coming up in 3 months, so that'll be fun.
All right, man. Thank you. Let's end with our favorite saying: keep talking with each other, keep supporting one another, and keep growing together. We'll see y'all next time.